In the past, only a small elite lived a life without poverty. Since the onset of industrialization and as a consequence of this economic growth, the share of people living in poverty started decreasing and has kept on falling ever since. But as a consequence of falling poverty, the health of the population improved dramatically over the last 2 centuries, and the population started to grow once again. The growth of the population caused the absolute number of poor people in the world to increase. Nearly half the world's population, more than 3 billion people, live on less than 2.5 a day. More than 1.3 billion live in extreme poverty, less than $1.25 a day. Hello everyone, I'm your moderator for the evening. In today's discussion, our group of panelists will be deliberating the problems have caused this growth in population, how population growth is tied to poverty, and what we can do to combat poverty. First, let's begin with brief introductions from our panelists and their associated organizations.
Hi, I'm Mark Zuckerberg. I'm the co-founder, chairman, and CEO of Facebook.
I'm Stephen Harper. I'm currently the Prime Minister of Canada.
I'm Ted London. I'm an author on the BOP market and development approaches that extends research from the original theory proposed by Stuart Hart.
I'm John Wilmoth, and I'm the Director of Population Division at the Department of Economic and Social Affairs for the United Nations.
So, let's start with you, Mr. Zuckerberg. How do you think is poverty and population growth interrelated?
Well, first of all, as the CEO of Facebook, I feel I have a moral obligation to help society educate and address and find solutions to these issues. The relationship between population and poverty is an ongoing cycle that includes the following: the lack of access to healthcare and education, few job prospects and low earnings, poor healthcare and nutrition, which leads to stunted physical and mental development, high rates of maternal/infant mortality and overall lack of energy, poor cognitive skills, lack of job prospects outside of manual labor, and more children needed to provide security in old age, and replace those who have died young. And the cycle repeats itself as the issue goes more and more globally.
Mr. Wilmot, let me follow up with you on that. As the Director of the Population Division of the Department of Economic and Social Affairs for the United Nations, could you please share with us your views on how do you think poverty and population growth is related?
Well, it's pretty much similar to Mark. The relationship is between poverty and population. It's just a cycle that consists of many factors contributing to the issue. I'm not going to add too much because I do believe that everything you said is very spot on. But with families not having the financial ability to support themselves, issues such as poor health and nutrition arise, causing physical and mental development issues for the children and infants, and therefore a reduced ability for the parents to work and learn, which can affect the population negatively as a whole.
I totally agree with you. Next, Mr. Prime Minister, we know that you attended the G8 summit in 2010 and have announced several development plans. Could you please tell us what was the main focus of the summit? Was there any other plans focused on alleviating poverty or helping those who fall under the BOP or base of pyramid segment?
Right. Well, as we currently know that there's a huge trend in the bottom of the pyramid, and we as Canadian citizens, we must feel the need to help out. Which is why I mentioned in the G8 summit that poverty, and especially maternal health in children, should be a concern. That's why I also recommended, that there are 4 billion people in this world right now that are currently living in the bottom of the pyramid. As Canadian citizens, it's like we take things for granted. We have free healthcare, free education and everything like that. And so is our need to also, we need to urge the world leaders to take a look into children and their poverty and, see what we can do. Our main focus should be on helping the children in poverty, eliminate the poverty for them so that they can create a better future. Actually, I recorded this and is what I said. So we don't want to stand idly by while women and children around the world die for the lack of things that they really are just very basic and inexpensive remedies that we take for granted for. That is why we held the conference.
Right. So Ted, as the senior researcher at the Davidson Institute and author of the BOP, or so-called as Base of Pyramid Development, could you please explain our viewers what BOP really is?
So in the BOP, or the base of the pyramid, there are four consumer tiers that make up the World Economic Pyramid. At the top, you have 75 to 100 million affluent people earning more than 20,000 annual per capita income. Then you have tiers 2 and 3 in the middle of the pyramid that consists of 1,500 to 1,750 million poor consumers living in developed nations earning between 1,500 and 20,000 annually. Then at the base of the pyramid in tier 4, there are 4 billion people with an annual per capita income of less than 1,500, which is considered to be the minimum necessary to sustain a decent life. These are the people that make up the base of the pyramid and where the largest proportion of the population sits.
Right. So now that we know what BOP is all about, Mr. Wu, could you please tell us what other factors other than rapid population growth contributes to poverty?
Poverty is not only caused by the rapid growth of the population, it's also caused by the geographic features of the country and their natural resources. You've got for developing countries, there's a huge issue with unfair division of power and wealth. Poverty is a very prominent issue with very severe consequences. It causes hunger, epidemics, and poor living conditions. That's also not it. There is a rise in crime and violence. Yeah.
Okay, so Mr. Prime Minister, keeping these problems in mind, could you please tell us if there are any measures being taken to promote healthcare, especially child and maternal health, since there are thousands of pregnant women who die during childbirth and millions of children die before age 5?
Yeah. Well, as urged the leaders and as urged all of us, Canada seems to have a responsibility to, provide warmth and comfort for everyone. We should do that for every children in the world. This is why we actually announced a $22.5 million boost to the poorest countries in 2015. And we're actually expected to give more money than that, another $3.25 billion in 2015 to helping poverty in children as well. This is just a step that Canada has taken just to become, I strongly believe, and I believe with the Canadian citizens as well, that we as a population should help, right, and try and get as much help as possible, right, which is why we're assessing all these projects to do.
So it did come to my knowledge that you were about to propose a UN Millennium Development Program.
No. So what happened is the UN Millennium Development Program was established in 2000. It was basically for the UN nations to combat extreme poverty conditions, just globally around the world. However, moving forward after the summit, we raised $7.5 billion for this program, and we're also expected to give another $3.25 billion later on. I wrote on my notes here that it said that we had Canada's provided $1.1 billion in new funding for the plan, and we'll continue to provide an additional $1.75 billion for the funding of maternal, newborn, and child health programs.
That really is amazing, Mr. Prime Minister. Mr. Wilmot, both finances are being spent on military, corporates, and other profit-related areas. Instead of focusing on areas such as those, which other areas do you think your organization should focus more on?
All this money that's spent on political systems and just individual supplies such as food or needs for these developing countries. I think the main issue is that we're supposed to focus more on the structure of the country itself, the power political system. Countries such as Canada who are providing these supplies, it's not only the money. Money is not the only issue. There are very harsh economic policies making it impossible for developing countries to prosper. It's perceived to help, but in fact, for example, countries in Africa, the money that they get is not, is not only enough to sustain their needs right now. It's barely covering their debts.
Would you say that that's even the hardest part about getting in is trying to, just get into that barrier?
Exactly.
That's the hardest part.
So Ted, in your opinion, how can poverty and all these other global problems that we all just discussed, how can they all be alleviated?
So at the moment, there's a lot of development approaches that aim to reduce poverty through aid programs and donations, but there is also an idea of using market-based approaches. This is where companies enter markets with the BOP to either import or export goods and create mutually beneficial returns. So companies have the resources and expertise needed to develop new products or services that serve the needs of the poor. And due to the fact that the top of the economic pyramid will soon be saturated, it'd be wise for MNCs to focus on the highly undeveloped market that exists in tier 4 of the pyramid. Doing this will combine commercial success with poverty alleviation. The large inequity of wealth distribution, which is constantly increasing, reinforces the common view that the poor can't participate in global market economy due to their minuscule earnings, even though they constitute a majority of the population. However, given the vast size of tier 4, it could be potentially a multi-trillion dollar market that could be profitable for corporations entering the market and the BOP societies. If corporations can work together with the BOP, it can be profitable for both, and we can generate profits for both the corporation and reduce poverty.
That would definitely be possible. Mr. Zuckerberg, you being such a influence over the media world, how would you say, being a social media and business leader, how do you think you can educate society and help reduce poverty and other issues that Ted just mentioned?
Well, as a business leader, I think it is important to help educate society about the problems in order to address the issue and identify solutions. I can use my international recognition and social media company to spread information about the effects of population poverty at the touch of a button. As a global leader in social enterprise, I continuously work to educate around the globe on this poverty issue, as I continuously do every day.
Definitely. Mr. Wilmot, so far we've heard about measures being taken to reduce poverty in Canada. We would like to know how are foreign development aids helping in order to stimulate economic growth in other parts of the world?
The idea is stimulating developing countries' economies, making them able to stand on their own. We're supposed to invest in both physical and human capitals, along with enhancing health systems and sustaining domestic needs. Also, we need to invest in education because if you're educated, you're already, if you're educated, you have a career, you can support yourself, you can also support your family. Some other needs,
That's what I'm thinking, yeah. You're just supposed to try and get them, if you provide them with the just basic education
exactly
system that they need, right? Then they can provide them with themselves and they can sustain themselves.
Yeah, and the other issue is that these development aids are they only work in economies with adequate fiscal and monetary trade policies, but not countries facing battles with debts and stale economies.
So now that we have heard about what steps the UN have taken in order to alleviate poverty and stimulate economic growth, Ted, can you please tell us what your opinion is and how do you think corporations can help the lower bottom segment of the BOP and help reduce poverty?
So as mentioned before, corporations can help alleviate poverty by entering the market, but first they need to be willing to help the market and actually want to alleviate poverty. But so the best way to enter the market would be to first introduce radical cost reductions. So they should enter a market where there's a large demand for their products and actually also divide up their labor so that the skilled workers can be left to jobs that need that sort of skill, and then the menial tasks can be given to lower wage workers. They should also build basic pyramid centric management teams. So they need to have two distinct skill sets, one being the will and imagination to create solutions to actually alleviate poverty, and the other to be able to manage a significant business and make profit. They should also have products that are valued and affordable for all consumers within the market, and they should be able to establish trust, because without trust you can't actually grow the market, and people aren't buying into the product. It's not going to help the corporation or the people in the market.
Mr. Zuckerberg, I'm sorry, did you want to follow with that?
No, I'm just saying that I do agree on that.
Yeah, customer loyalty is such an important thing for business.
It definitely is.
And that's one of the key things to getting an economy going, is to constantly have spending. Spending will generate from good businesses, right? Good small businesses will start off. If bigger businesses come in, then the monopoly will
So
start
small
toppling.
ones will
Yeah.
push out.
Exactly.
Saturated, right?
This is how Canada has been prosperous through the level of opportunities that we have here, with small businesses. But I don't feel like, in those third world countries in the bottom of the pyramid, they don't. If big corporations start coming in,
They're really not benefiting
Yeah.
from it. Moving on, Mr. Zuckerberg. When one visits the Facebook website, the first thing we get to see is the Facebook mission statement. Facebook helps you connect and share with the people in your life. Why do you think it's so important to have everyone connected around the globe?
Well, I think in today's society, it's very important that everyone realizes that we can use Facebook as a social media to connect everyone around the world. Connecting everyone in the world doesn't more than just share the benefits of the people. It brings the other two worlds into the fold to help everyone collaborate together to invent and create new solutions to the problems of poverty and the growing population. If we can connect everyone, all of our lives will improve dramatically. So this just shows how we can continuously help society become more connected for the greater good of society and address the growing population and poverty issue. Being able to deliver internet access around the world at an affordable price is one of the challenges that we're going to have to address going forward that's going to help address the poverty issue. It isn't going to happen overnight, but with more research and awareness around the world, we can definitely achieve this goal.
Definitely.
now actually, how I see that is mainly most countries they use their original resources in order, they collect the resources from the ground and then they make something from it and then they produce it and that's how a product is, being generally sold. However, nowadays there are many ways to make money on the internet. In fact, we're trying to, regulate it because there are so many ways. There's, just ad revenue agencies and other ways through people make their income just all through the internet. And so because it's a resource, right, that we can use, and if we distribute it to all the third world countries, they themselves can make money through online without having to harvest the natural resource.
Exactly. Like it's a great venue for people to actually just get exposure of how the other world lives. And it's great for campaigns, donations, charities, they prosper.
It's going to help drive the economy as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of the importance of being connected around the globe and helping reduce poverty around the world, it reminds me of this international development program, namely Indonesia Agribusiness Development. Mr. Prime Minister, could you please share with us some information with us regarding this program?
Yeah, so Canada has been involved in the Indonesian agribusiness development. The project is essentially help to reduce the poverty among the small farm holders and support the creation and development of the agribusiness in Indonesia. This is a project that we've currently donated $10 million for. What the whole process is we're trying to, jumpstart their economy. But this project will also involve certain aspects as well as to how we can get them to create, a sustainable income for themselves, for the farmers. So the project involves developing the business model for the agricultural production, right? Handling the marketing and the products and everything like that. We will actually look into having the private sectors buy, the private sector's buyers and input suppliers to train, to provide the services to the farmers for them to understand how it goes. We will then have the training of the bank staff of new financial products coming in, right? We're going to also train plantation staff as well, so that we can, generate a system. And the final step is we're going to train the consumer or the product firms about the new market opportunities. All this together that we have currently donated, hopefully will, bloom the Indonesian agribusiness and help them sustain more so that, they will themselves get them out of poverty.
Yeah, they won't rely on exporting as much. Right?
Exactly.
They'll make
And the
money
whole-
themselves, they can sustain it.
Exactly. The whole process is about, training from one generation to another. Like I said, we take this for granted. Being in Canada, we, with everything that we have, we can't really see what's going on in the bottom of the world.
That's why
Right.
they use Facebook.
That's why there's Facebook. If we can just combine, just have the internet come in, proper training results, everything like this, then we can actually develop an economy in themselves. They just need to be taught this.
And help the developing countries as well.
Exactly.
Since our today's discussion is revolving more around the VOP concept, in order to help our viewers understand better, Ted, can you explain what a VOP venture is and provide some real-life examples of VOP?
Sure. So a BOP venture is when a enterprise either sells goods to or sources goods from people at the bottom of the pyramid in a way that helps to improve the standard of living of the poor. So some examples of this are Nirma and Hindustan Lever Limited, who operated in India and responded to the fact that a vast majority of the people in this area were actually at the base of the pyramid. So Nirma started off by adjusting their products to suit the needs of this market. So what they first did was they create detergent products, and when they entered this area, they actually changed their product up from what is in their usual market. So they had a new product formulation. They had lower costs in the manufacturing process. They had a wide distribution network, and they had value pricing as well as special packaging for the market. So although it is important to say that not everything at the base of the pyramid needs to be adjusted, because if you specialize in an area that is of high demand, you can actually do it for a lower cost.
So in conclusion to today's topic, Mr. Zuckerberg, what do you think is the most effective solution to our global problems?
Well, going back to my point where I think the whole population around the world should be connected, using Facebook especially, is I would challenge our government to identify and develop ways to create affordable data for every member of society. Every member of society should have the right to have access to the internet. And as the CEO of Facebook, I will continue to address the issue regarding the population poverty issue and use my international influence to create change. We already have 90% of the world's population within living range of a cellular network. So for everyone in those areas, including third world countries, other countries around the world, we don't need to build a completely new kind of infrastructure to help connect them. We need to identify ways to create a little bit of cheaper data to reach them that will help address this poverty and growing population issue.
Right. I actually do want to agree with you on that. However, I do believe that the world should be connected, and the world is already connected. However, the problem is that, with the advanced rising technology, the only problem is you need, technology as well to help support. For example, if people should have a cell phone, you should also have a charger that goes with that. That charger requires electricity. Unfortunately, in these situations where they're at the bottom of the pyramid, in most developing countries, they actually don't even have their basic access. What they basically have access to is not even food or water. They can't even afford that, let alone house. I agree with you that internet will one day soon.
One step at a time.
I understand. It is something that we should definitely look forward into, right? It is definitely something that will boom the economy in most situations. Right now, the care is to have them trained, gain them the knowledge. If they have knowledge on how technology is used, or how they can make their harvest more efficient, right? Like, we as Canadian citizens, we're very efficient in collecting our food and water. We're able to sell something for commodities, and because we're able to efficiently bulk up, right? If we train through, the Indonesian agribusiness or through other projects that Canada has been involved with, right? If we can get that training also involved, using technology nowadays, right? Especially connecting them, right? Then they were able to grow and learn more. If we provide that technology for them to learn, instead of having them to, now we can learn. We don't have to go to classrooms anymore. We can learn online. Everything now is through the internet, and we can also provide them with that as well, right? Because the knowledge is already there. The information is already there. So now the point is to get that information to them by, advancing our history of technology right now. And if we bring that over there, information will be widespread.
Okay. The last question of the evening I have for you, Mr. Zuckerberg, is how important do you think having access to the cellular network is going to help alleviate poverty?
Well, as I stated before, I think one of the major focus points going forward in society is getting everybody connected. Having access to the cellular network and being connected across the world is going to help address issues of population and poverty to help us create solutions. As I previously stated, 90% of the world is already within range of cellular networks. So it's not like we're reinventing the wheel here. It's just a matter of getting the technology there, getting the information there to get everybody connected. influence, to create awareness. And I believe in a future where everyone around the world can get connected and help address and provide solutions to the problems of poverty and the growing population in today's economy.
Okay. Thank you so much, viewers and our panelists. This is Group 6 from the Corporate Social Responsibility course.